Okay, so the other day, February 18th, 343 released the details of that mid-season February update for Halo Infinite people been talking about. And this might just be the most underwhelming update I've ever seen, especially for a live service game. Since its release, Halo Infinite has been starving for new content and bug fixes. But according to the patch notes that 343 put out for this update, doesn't look like we're getting any new maps or any new playlists and game modes. There was also no roadmap in this update, so who the fuck knows when that's coming. The fact that it is taking this long to even get a roadmap for this game is unbelievable. Like, 343 is failing to update this game and add things in a timely manner, and they can't even give us a roadmap so we know when these things are coming. And that might be because 343 themselves do not know, which just further proves that they are one of the most incompetent developers I've ever seen. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're really getting that much with this mid-season update. It just looks like they're going to be making some improvements to the stability and performance of the game, anti-cheat improvements, networking, campaign improvements. They're increasing the range of the motion tracker in Big Team Battle from 18 meters to 24 meters, so I mean, I guess that's something to be excited about, I guess. And they're also going to be improving some of the first-person animations. For those of you who didn't know, some first-person animations in Halo Infinite, like reloading certain weapons like the skewer, it would appear that those animations happened at a lower frame rate than the rest of the game. I think it might have been like locked at 30 FPS for some of the animations, kind of like how Halo Custom Edition on PC was back in the day. So I guess it's good that they're fixing that, but it's still unbelievably embarrassing that they even released the game with an issue like that. Now, 343 said these aren't the full patch notes, but it looks like these are the main things coming with this update. Now, many people expected a lot more out of this update, and I can't blame them considering how incomplete Halo Infinite launched, with a ton of issues, missing features, and missing content. Some people try to make the argument that this update shouldn't have been that big because it's only a mid-season update, but people fail to realize that the only reason this is a mid-season update is because they delayed Season 2. That's the only reason this is mid-season. And again, like I mentioned, with this being a live service game and the incomplete state that this game launched in, we absolutely should be getting a lot more with this update. Like, you can't have a Halo game that's been in development longer than any other Halo game and then release it with the least amount of maps out of any Halo game. And then say, oh, well, you gotta wait till Season 2, the season that we delayed, to get more maps. We don't release maps in the middle of a season. Shut the fuck up. You released this game with the least amount of maps and you delayed Season 2. We absolutely should be getting new maps before Season 2. Get the fuck out of here with that argument. Same thing goes for a core game mode like King of the Hill or a standard playlist like Team Doubles. You don't save that type of shit for Season fucking 2. That should have been in the game day one. I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again. This right here is why people don't like live service. I've always said that the live service model is not inherently bad. Like, and I stand by that. Like, it could be good. There's nothing wrong with consistent updates over time post-launch of a game. Like, that's fine. But the reason people dislike that model is because developers use that as an excuse to release a game unfinished, and they release content that should have been in the game day one with these post-launch updates. Like, if Halo Infinite launched with all the content and features that a game like Halo Reach launched with, and their post-launch content updates consisted of things like a Battle Royale mode, campaign DLC, new maps, photo mode for a campaign, things like that, then that's fine, that's good. But Halo Infinite launched incomplete as fuck, and it looks like these missing features and modes are going to be added to the game with these seasonal updates. And 343 absolutely should not be holding content for these seasonal updates that should have been in the game day one. When Season 2 rolls around and we get the patch notes for that, I'm just going to go through them and I'm going to subtract everything that should have been in the game day one. So subtract co-op campaign, Team Doubles playlist, King of the Hill, everything else that should have been in the game day one, and then whatever's left, that's really what Season 2 consists of. Like even new maps, if we don't get a new map in this game before Season 2, then that doesn't even count as a seasonal update for Season 2. No. We should have got new maps way before fucking May, especially with the Halo game that launched with the least amount of maps when it was in development for 6 years. Halo Infinite has officially been out now for about 2.5 months because the official release date was December 8th. But I think many of us realize that when 343 released the game early on November 15th and they called it a beta, I think many of us understand that that was pretty much just the release of the game. Because the state of the game during what 343 were calling the beta was basically the same as the game on its official release date December 8th with the addition of campaign. So Halo Infinite is supposed to be a live service game. But when I look at what Halo Infinite has done so far over these past 3 months, I question if past Halo games did a better job at live service than Halo Infinite. Because, for one, in past Halo games like Halo Reach, they launched way more content-rich than Halo Infinite did. Like Halo Reach launched with a ton of features and modes that Halo Infinite did not, like co-op campaign, forge, firefight, progression system, just to name a few. So a game like Halo Reach and other older Halo games were not nearly as starved for content as Halo Infinite is. But I also look at when these older Halo games received their first map pack or content update. Halo 3 received its first map pack, the Heroic map pack, about 2.5 months after launch. That consisted of 3 maps. Halo Reach also received its first map pack, consisting of 3 maps about 2.5 months after launch. Halo 4 got its map pack about 1 month post-launch. Now, some people might make the argument that those map packs weren't free, you had to pay for them, so there was more of an incentive for the developer to make new maps. Okay, well that is just one of many reasons why people dislike the live service free-to-play model. Like me personally, I would absolutely be okay with spending $10 if that means we get a map pack in the game 1 to 3 months post-launch. But even in the Halo game where new maps were free, Halo 5 Guardians, we still got new maps quicker than Halo Infinite. Halo 5's first content update came a couple weeks after the game had launched. And with this update we got Big Team Battle, which it just occurred to me that even though Big Team Battle wasn't in Halo 5 at launch, at least it wasn't broken when it did make its way into the game. Like Halo Infinite BTB was there day 1. Okay, but it was broken for about 2 months. So it being there day 1 didn't really mean anything at all. So don't even tell me, oh, well, at least Halo Infinite had Big Team Battle in the game day 1. Halo 5 didn't have that. Well, Halo 5 also didn't have its Big Team Battle broken for 2 fucking months. And also with that content update for Halo 5, we got 4 maps for Big Team Battle, and these were Forge maps on Forge canvases, and this was before Forge was even in the game. So whether or not you consider that new maps being added to the game or not, that's up to you, but I'll tell you right now, I'd welcome some Forge maps being added to Halo Infinite right now. And we also got new weapons, weapon skins, visor, vehicle variants, armor sets, assassinations, emblems, and things like that with this Battle of Shadow and Light update for Halo 5. And then the next content update we got for Halo 5, called Cartographer's Gift, came about a month and a half post-launch of Halo 5. And the big thing that came with this update was Forge, with 3 Forge canvases. We also got 2 new Forge maps for Big Team Battle, and then we got 2 new developer-made maps, one for Warzone and one for Arena. And this update also consisted of more weapon variants, armor sets, assassinations, emblems, skins, things like that. So anyways, when I look back at these past Halo games, it seems like they might just be doing a better job at live service than Halo Infinite has done so far. And you also got to pay attention to how long it takes Halo Infinite to get to where Halo Reach was day 1. Like over the course of the next 3 months, 343 could add co-op, firefight, and infection to Halo Infinite, right? Which isn't going to happen, but let's say they did that. To some, that might seem like a lot of big content updates, but you gotta remember, past Halo games had all that shit day fucking 1, and Halo Infinite should have as well, especially because it was in development for as long as it was. Okay, so now I want to address a common thing people like to say to those who are critical of 343 and their games. People say if you don't like the game, then just don't play it. And that is really just one of the most pointless things you could say, because for one, many of us who are critical of the game, we either don't play it at all or we don't play it much. And two, regardless of whether or not we're playing the game, we can still criticize it. And this game definitely deserves criticism. And another thing people might argue is that those being critical of this game are just beating a dead horse. They might say you don't need to keep shitting on the game in 343, we understand the problems the game has, it's been covered, you don't need to talk about it anymore. But here's the thing, you might understand the problems with the game, you might get it, but I'm not convinced that 343 really does. I'm really not. I am not convinced that 343 understands how much of a failure this game actually is. If I had to guess, I'd say 343's sentiment of this game is that it has its issues, there's things we need to fix, but overall it's a fantastic game. I could be wrong, but from the things I've seen them say or not say, that's the vibe I'm getting. I feel like that is their attitude towards this game. And just the other day, I even saw a prominent 343 employee say that Halo Infinite is their best work, that this game is just so darn good. Some of y'all might know who I'm talking about, maybe you don't, but I don't want to show it because I don't like the idea of actually like singling people out at 343. But that does reinforce my suspicion that 343 doesn't understand just how bad this game actually is. And if 343 still thinks that this is a good Halo game in its current state, with all the things missing and the issues that it has, then they clearly just don't get it. There is still a huge disconnect there. And so that's one of the reasons I keep talking about it, because they just don't get it. Like, I'm not the type of person to kick somebody when they're down, right? That's not me. Like, if they came out and like publicly stated like, hey, we understand this game is in a horrible state and it's completely unacceptable and we've severely screwed up. If they came out and said that, maybe I'd back off a little bit. But I'm not convinced they realize that. Like when they're putting out tweets that say we're thrilled to announce that Halo Infinite is the biggest launch in Halo history, or we're honored that Halo Infinite is a nominee for excellence in multiplayer. What? We're thrilled? We're honored? We're not completely embarrassed? Like, the tweet shouldn't be, we're honored that Halo Infinite is a nominee in excellence in multiplayer. No, the tweet should be, hey, we appreciate the support, but honestly, our game doesn't deserve it, at least not yet. And you could say, oh, well, no developer is going to come out and say that about their game. Okay, well then you should also be able to comprehend why people might have a problem with a tweet like that. And I've also seen tweets from various developers at 343 talking about how they're, proud to have launched Halo Infinite. And I mean, as a developer, you can be proud of the work you did on the game. Sure, I understand that. But I just haven't really seen much acknowledgement from 343 of the horrible state this game is in. And to those of you who think I'm being too harsh, I'm really not. What games people consider good or bad, it's really all subjective, but when it comes to a game like Halo Infinite launching as incomplete as it has, you can make a pretty convincing argument for why this is a terrible Halo game. And I want to address something real quick, because like I said, some people might feel I'm being too harsh and that I shouldn't act the way I do in my videos, or maybe there's a better way to lay out my arguments. But I want to make something clear. The way I am in my videos is genuine, right? This is genuinely how I feel. But I'm also giving 343 and their games the reaction that they deserve. After 343 has continuously fucked up for the last 10 years, they don't deserve a video where I kindly lay out all the things that this game needs, because for one, I'm sure they're well aware of it. Like, I think 343 is aware of the things that this game is missing. People list off these things that Infinite needs as if 343 doesn't know. Like, no, I think they know. They either don't care about some of the stuff, or they're just too incompetent to get it in the game. So considering 343 has fucked up time and time again with Halo 4, MCC, Halo 5, and now Halo Infinite, and in some ways they're actually getting worse, the type of reaction that I'm giving them in my videos is the type of reaction they fucking deserve. And none of it's personal. It's never personal, it's always about the games or the studio as a whole. Like, I know some people might take it too far when criticizing 343, but do not let that very tiny minority distract you from the large amount of people who are justifiably criticizing this game. You know, the abundance of people who have very real and warranted grievances with this game and 343. So again, just to make something clear, when I sound the way I sound in my videos, it's not necessarily because I care a whole lot. It's more of me just giving 343 and this game the reaction that it deserves. Like I've been saying, I think 343's best path to redemption is to provide real transparency. And so far, it doesn't seem like 343 is going that route of real transparency. Just the other day, I saw another prominent 343 employee hit us with the whole time excuse again. Oh, this stuff takes time. We need time. But like I've been saying, and many of us are aware of by now, 343 has had so much time to develop this game. More time than any other Halo game. So you can't just say, this stuff takes time. Why is it taking so much time? What the fuck were you guys doing for the last 6 fucking years? You know, that would be real transparency if they actually explained to us why the 6 years that they had to develop this game wasn't enough to get things in the game at launch that were in past Halo games at launch with less development time. But again, it doesn't seem like 343 fully understands how bad of a spot this game is in right now, and how unacceptable it is to launch a Halo game this incomplete when you've had this much fucking time. And another thing 343 needs to do is focus on making these missing features and modes better than they've ever been when they finally do make their way into the game. And some people try to justify the disastrous state of this game by talking about how 2/3 of the game had to be cut, or they were hiring contractors that came and went after a couple months. But for one, regardless of how much of the game you had to cut, you were still given 6 years to develop this game. And also, let's not act like the conditions were perfect when Bungie was developing Halo, like they had all the time and resources they needed. No. Bungie had some rocky developments and still put out fucking masterpieces, okay? Also, people need to shut the fuck up about COD Vanguard and Battlefield 2042 and how Halo Infinite isn't as bad as those games. Listen, Call of Duty, they have Warzone, right? Warzone's huge. Battlefield, the last Battlefield game before 2042 was Battlefield 5. That released 3 years ago. Right? Only 3 years ago, and people like that game. With Halo, we've been playing decade-old Halo games for fucking years. So stop acting like Halo Infinite is in such a better spot than Call of Duty and Battlefield right now. We waited 6 years for this game, it's fucking free, and it's doing this goddamn bad. It's terrible. Halo is in an awful fucking spot. And what happened to all the people screaming, Halo is back, Halo is back, we back, baby. Oh my god, the free Halo game has a lot of people playing it on the first week, we back. It's unbelievable that there were actually people who thought Halo was back just because it was popular the first couple weeks after it came out. The game's been in development for 6 years and it's fucking free. No shit, it's popular the first couple fucking weeks. Many of us understood that that excitement and popularity was temporary. But some of y'all, I don't know what the fuck you were thinking. Anyways, I don't have much hope for this game at all. This game needs so much work to get to the spot where it should be. And seeing how long it takes 343 to push out updates and fixes and a fucking roadmap, the future of this game doesn't look too bright. And I'm not going to be sitting around waiting for the revival of this game like some people are. Nah, like this is pretty much it. 343 had 6 fucking years and this is the product they gave us. I've said before that I didn't want this game to fail, but at this point I'm kind of just like, all right, just let it die. Fuck it, man. It's over. Just let Halo die. Strip this fucking franchise away from 343, please. They've done enough damage to it. That way at least 343 won't be able to tarnish Halo's legacy anymore. Anyways, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.